And we are live. We are live. Welcome to Wisdom Wednesdays with Liz Gabor. I am a success coach, yoga meditation instructor, basically a holistic practitioner, and I help successful women of any age really eliminate self-doubt and the fear of growing older so they can show up in the world with passion and vibrancy and finally start living their most powerful dream life, even if they've been programmed to believe it's too late. So I'm happy that you're here with us today, Annette. And, this series, I created this series really as a platform for women to share their stories, their wisdom, how they navigate the world, and more, what they do. And it's a way for me to spotlight and highlight each of the members of our Facebook group, the Ageless Goddess Vibe Tribe. So if you identify as a female and you're not in our group yet, please come on over and join us. We would love to have you over there. And we want to learn about one another. And then through this modality, I provide my guests with the video, and she can do with it what she wishes, share it with her family, friends, community, chop it up, whatever you want to do with it, and so on and so forth. And so it's out of my calling to really shift women's perspectives about themselves as we age, in addition to shifting our cultural beliefs around aging. And I feel our world and our country now more than ever needs the radiant power of women, our voices, our creativity, and our intelligence. So this week's conversation is with my friend, Annette Shalbert. And I'm going to share a little bit about my fabulous friend, Annette. She was supposed to be with us last week, but she was stuck in the fires in British Columbia. Or I'm not sure, not exactly there, but you could tell us if you want. But I'm so happy that you're safe and that you're with us, that you were able to come back this week and be with us. So welcome. And let me tell you guys a little bit about Annette, and then she will take it over and tell a little bit more about herself. So born and raised in central Alberta, Canada, Annette's life was pretty normal from the outside anyway. 2 loving parents, and then her. At almost 12, her baby sister showed up on the scene and life started to look different. She was no longer the only. Married at a young age and started a family immediately. 2 kids in, a marriage that looked good from the outside, yes, again. One huge move away from all that she knew, a business that she had a love-hate relationship with. And there she was, wondering, what the hell am I going to do? Is this my life? So 6 years later, she's divorcing, standing there with 2 littles and questioning her own sanity as well as her choices. She was forced into doing something with this life of hers and her 2 dependents. So off to university she went. A degree, a teaching PDP, and a master's was the beginning of her learning that resiliency, determination, perseverance, and patience. She has trouble with that part. I think we can all agree, and that's a tricky one. They all were going to eventually lead her to a life that she deliberately designed. She has a Facebook called Deliberately Designed Life. It's wonderful. Today, she is remarried with another kiddo, and they own and operate 2 successful businesses, and she's in the process of building her 3rd currently. She still does some school teaching, and she's supporting 2 more entrepreneurs in both of her girls, ages 16 and 27. So welcome again, Annette, and so happy you're with us to have this conversation. And what I'd like to do now is really pass it over to you, give you like 5-7 minutes really just to share with us about yourself. What's your story? You shared some of it in your bio, but whatever it is that you would like to share with the audience about yourself, I'd love for you to take it from here for a little bit.
Perfect. Well, first off, thanks, Liz. And thank you to your community for allowing me to be part of this. That's pretty exciting. Also, thank you for last week and the ability to shift on the fly, which I think is something that not just we as women, but especially we as women, we're pretty good at doing that, being able to shift on the fly. And at first, when I woke up last Wednesday morning, I thought, oh, no big deal. And then when the highway started to close around me, I'm like, this might be a big deal. So the fact that you were able to make a quick pivot and allow me to travel back home was amazing. So thank you for pushing us off till this week. It is gratefully appreciated. I am out of the fires and into the pouring rain currently. So not a fun place either, but much better than the forest fires. Much better than the forest fires. So yeah, it's always interesting to me. First off, I know I told you when you asked me about a little bio, I'm like, geez, what do you say? 52 years of walking on this side of the earth. And obviously that's 52 years of history and 52 years of stories and 52 years of building and making mistakes. And learning from those mistakes, so it was a challenge to kind of try to put it into a synopsis. I kind of struggled with that. I'm not going to lie. And then what do we really want to share? Sometimes the toughest parts of our journey are the pieces that we often feel in our hearts like we should keep or protect or save from other people, and making ourselves vulnerable and wanting to share those difficult pieces. But yet it's the most intimate moments and the most turbulent times in our life where we make the most growth, and where the people that are around us are also going to be able to get learning from that, right? And so I think that as I think back at on my journey, and Lord knows I've made some big mistakes along the way or taken some big life lessons along the way, but I feel like the greatest gifts I was given came through those lessons. And the ability to gain that resiliency and just dig in and learn. Right now the buzzword is grit, right? Everybody's like, oh, you got to have grit. You got to have grit. Well, heck, you guys, we've had grit. Our ancestors had grit. They just called it something different, right?
That's right.
And so, but it was through all those challenging times that I learned that it was inside of me. It was there all along. It was masked by other people's opinions, by other people's stories. And I never once took the opportunity before I had to dig within myself, to see what I actually had, to see what I could bring forward, and to see how I could persevere and preserve myself. And so literally for me, I think, life just was like, I was liking things to like the bowling alleys with the bumpers. You know how you get the bumpers down the side? Well, got to get whichever way I am in the camera. This backwards thing is confusing me. But how you're always protected, right? That ball's going to go down, but if it doesn't go in the gutter, it hits a bumper. And kind of life, I think life is kind of like that when we're younger and as we move along. And so, it was the thing in the 80s to graduate high school and find your love and get married and build a family, and the all-American dream of the house with the white picket fence. And I did all of that. I just followed along, and the bumper saved me. And then all of a sudden I started questioning, is this like, God, I'm 26 years old. Do I want to spend the rest of my life doing this, bouncing from bumper to bumper? It just really started to hit me. But then who was I to start to question this, right? Because I was following what was normal. I was following what everybody else did. So who was I to start to question, do I want to spend the rest of my life with this guy? Do I want to build out this all-American dream? Do I want to follow the path of everybody that's been on it before me? Or do I actually want to see who I am? Do I actually want to dig inside of me and ask myself what felt like very, very difficult questions, but what lights me up? What makes me happy? And when I did that seeking, it wasn't where I was in life. And so then I had to serve as a disappointment. Right? This is telling me I'm serving as a disappointment to all that's around me, because, you don't just jump out of these things, and you need to be committed for life, and you need to do all of this. And so, who on earth was I to start breaking through these barriers of normalcy?
I just want to just for a second, I want to just double click on the fact that the questions that you asked yourself, what lights my heart up, like, and if anybody who's listening, like, hasn't asked themselves that question, what makes me happy? What lights my heart on fire? Just remember those questions and ask yourself if you haven't, because a lot of us are still going on that autopilot of what we were kind of conditioned to believe is the only course, so I love that you asked yourself that. And I'm curious, what led you to ask these questions? Like, were you getting little whispers along the way of like, this doesn't feel right? Or did it come as like, some kind of voice came to you and said, what are you doing? Or how did it kind of show itself that you started to really dig into that yourself?
So I think, honestly, I'm way more in touch with my soul and the spiritual work and universal requests and answers way more now than I was back then. I can honestly sit here in front of you and say that didn't even enter the picture. It really did.
Mine either until much later.
Yeah, exactly. And that's still a very big work in progress, Liz. That's something that I still, there's areas that I struggle with still to this day, and far from have this figured out, and don't want it figured out, because if I get it all figured out right now, that could be the end of time. And that's not what I'm interested in. I got way too much life to live. So for me, I think coming from a psychology background today, when I look back on that, I can just tell you things felt uncomfortable. So to pinpoint what it was that made me start questioning things, I don't think I can, because at that time, I literally was that bowling ball. I was literally just bouncing from side to side, doing life, buying the things, trying to buy myself happiness. I had all the resources. From the outside, I had, like, people just were shocked. Like, what on earth is she doing? Mm-hmm. But in here, I was sad every day. I just didn't have a zest for life. I just really, no amount of money and things was lighting me up. It did temporarily, as it does with anybody, I think, at any time. I always call those things the honeymoon phase of our life, right? You buy that whatever, and it's amazing at the time that you buy it, but it just doesn't sustain happiness. We can use it to create a false happiness, but it doesn't sustain happiness. And that's what was happening. And that turbulency, it wasn't lasting. I was buying the new car, moving into the new home, redecorating, 6 months down the road. And it just wasn't lasting. What used to last for 6 months or a year was lasting like weeks. And I was unhappy again. But not once did I realize what I was up to. It took many years, and honestly, doing a master's in psychology, before I could actually look back and that little picture became clear. And then when that picture became clear, I then was able to go, okay, those things still happen, Liz. Yeah. I still want to go and buy the things.
Shiny object syndrome. We all do, right? Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. But when I do it,
the difference, whether you're doing it to fuel emotionally or you're doing it just because you're entitled to that thing. Why not?
Yes.
It's a very different reasons.
Yeah. So today when that happens, I run in a philosophy of take 24, I call it. And so when I'm wanting to, did I freeze?
Your picture disappeared. Your face disappeared, but I can hear you.
You can hear me. I wonder how, let's hold on here. There we go.
There we go.
Why? Maybe my little mouse was in the wrong spot. I apologize, you guys. So I do my take 24, I call it. And what that is when that shiny object presents itself, because they present all the time, because that's what I'm asking for. I'm always asking for opportunity. And so it presents. But now I take 24 and I think about those exact questions that you were saying. Why? Why am I looking at this? Why does it serve a purpose? Is it more of a means to an end instead of a quick fix, because quick fixes just never last. And so, I'm able to look back and say, thank you for the life lessons that I had. I have no regrets. I have no regrets of having a first marriage. I have no regrets of having 2 kids out of that marriage. Oh my gosh, why does it keep doing that?
There we go.
It keeps on the bottom of my screen. I don't know what to do to make that different, but sorry. No, I don't know why it keeps doing that. So anyway, I take that information now and I use it to help guide me. So I'm no longer depending on those bunkers to save me, right? And that's a huge play in how I'm able to be deliberate in how I'm living. It doesn't mean things are perfect, Liz. It doesn't mean I have it all figured out, because Lord knows, as he's watching over top of me, that is not the case.
That is not the case for any of us, and nor do we want to. Are we looking for that perfection? That's a big,
what is perfection? Liz,
no.
What is it? What is it?
It's not attainable, and nor is it fun or sexy at all.
No, not interested. Not interested in that.
Let me ask you, Annette. So when you were, making that decision, did you have any help? Like, did you have any, whether it's a friend or a therapist or somebody that kind of you had to talk to about it, or was this like you and you? Yeah.
So the biggest thing, you got to keep in mind that, I come from a very large family, and I didn't lead the way in divorces in the family, and definitely not something I'd be proud to lead the way of. But marriage turbulence, like everything was a secret, right? Like nobody shared that stuff. So holy smokes, who was I? I was, I think, separated for probably, I want to tell you, the better side of 3 months before I even told my father. My parents are separated. So I had some familiarity. I knew what it felt like as a kid. I was 18 when they split up, but I knew what that felt like. And so I knew what I was doing to my 2 littles, right? 6 and 3 years old. And I was like rocking their world, because again, from the outside, man, they had a picture perfect life. And no, I did a lot of processing on my own. This is a runaway freight train at any given time. But in the process of leaving or asking my husband to leave, the first time, see, we got back together because that was that outside external pressure, right? We got to give it another shot. We got to make sure we get it right. And at that time, I was seeking other people. At that time, we went to marriage therapy and did all the things. That kind of a funny story. And I'll never mention the name of our therapist at the time, but he said to me afterwards, he said, I got to tell you something. You're wasting your time here, girl, because this is not going to be a marriage that's ever going to be happily ever after. And he said, and that's not something a marriage therapist should ever tell you. But, I took those words to heart. He was also a friend.
Yeah.
And
he wouldn't have said that, that's a pretty bold statement for a therapist, but I don't think if he didn't like really know it from his experience and just, So he made, I think that's a gift also, because when you're that young and when you don't have, a lot of support from your family in doing that.
So once I actually, broke the chain link and busted my move, so to say. And at that point then, I was able to call upon some friends, some family, and some loved you and some hated you and some saw what was going on and some didn't. But interestingly enough, our 2 littles, they did.
Yeah.
And those were the 2 that I was working so damn hard to protect.
That's the thing, right? That's the thing. And that's where it's like you when you said before, you're gonna rock their world, but their world would have been rocked much more if you stayed in something that was not healthy for you, right? Yes. So I know that's what a lot of people feel when they're doing that. So, yeah.
And I can sit here, we've been divorced since 86, I think was the first separation. 87 was the second one, we did the get back together in November, bring that family back together for Christmas. Let's celebrate. And oh my gosh, before Christmas even happened, we were both sitting there going, okay, this is not going to work. Second separation was much easier than the first one. And definitely we knew that we were going to work together to create a path. And so, for all things divorce, I will sit here today and say, I love that we were able to keep our relationship amicable for our children. And that is a conscious choice that we made. It came with its fair share of bumps and bruises as well, but it was, it worked, and it still works. It still works. I could pick up the phone today and still talk to him about our grown adult children. So it still works. And he's made great relations with my husband. That was part of the deal when Mike and I got together, and I've met and adore his wife. And so, we've been able to keep that piece together. So I think that all comes, now that I know what I know, I think it just comes from, that's what I asked for. I just didn't want to be put through what my sister and I were put through, that ugliness, and it was a silent ugliness, as a lot of things are. But the feelings didn't change, right? Whether it's verbalized or whether it's silent, it's harmful.
It hurts. Yeah. It hurts. Yeah, so that's a great lesson that you're sharing with this with anyone who is in that position, because it is, you can create that conscious relationship and not go there, not go there with the talking about the spouse and the things that some people do that can be really, 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 really sad for the kids and damaging for the kids.
So that's exactly right.
So good for you on that, for sure. And what a brave person to make that choice for yourself, that you chose. I think that's another thing to just double click on first, that you made that choice for yourself and had to go through the fire, really, of people's judgment and all the things that.
Oh, and it's out there. It's definitely out there, but it gave me a strength, and it gave me a voice that I wouldn't have today if I hadn't have gone. Like, I give thanks for it. I honestly do.
I always say to people when I'm like, congratulations, when they're getting divorced, you're choosing you, this one and precious life, right?
Yes.
So, and I also love the design, the 24-hour thing. And I was just thinking about, you can use it not even 24 hours, for what, choosing what you're going to eat. It's like, wait, is this going to feel, because that's sometimes I do that. And when I sometimes want to grab for an emotional snack, and I'm like, is this going to feel good when I finish eating it, or because I'm really not hungry? And, and so stopping, just that pause for 5 minutes, 24 hours, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. My take 24 is on any kind of a purchase, I would say.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense for 20, because probably in 24 hours you forgot about it, right? If you're still really wanting it,
Yeah, that's right.
And you grant yourself permission to have it, which is also you choosing you.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask you, because we are the Ageist Goddess Vibe Tribe, that, I think that the way that the media and, fashion industries, obviously cosmetic surgeons, that they target, the fashion and the media target younger people, and really the cosmetic surgeons target the older people.
Absolutely.
But they really make, chronologically older people, I feel less valued. And I feel that it's very dangerous and very toxic. And I'm curious if you have any thoughts on that.
Oh boy, this could be controversial. This might be you and I may agree to disagree. So, okay. Depending on the person's reason for doing it, if that makes sense. So doing it for yourself because of that same thing. Are you digging inside? Is there an unhappiness that you feel going for Botox or whatever, coloring your hair, whatever that is, going for that? Are you doing it for self, or are you doing it for society? Are you doing it for someone else? And I think, in my personal opinion, and I mean, you got to keep in mind, I have a counseling background, so I'm all about self. I would never tell somebody not to do something if they were doing it for their internal well-being.
I am with you, sister. We do not disagree on that at all.
Perfect. And not that we have to agree. I mean, that's the beauty of life and the world and all of that, is we don't have to agree. We have to be able to respect each other. Yeah. And so for me, to give anyone respect means I can question what you're doing, but not question your choice or your decision. I can give you critical thinking questions to ensure that you're doing these things for the right reason. But it's not my job to decide. It's not my story. It doesn't impact me when I put my head down on the pillow at night. And that's how that's just a really big lesson that I've learned in life, is, will this cause me to lose sleep tonight? And if it does, it's a question that I need to dig out more for myself. But if it isn't, I need to just release that and trust that the people that are making these decisions are making the best ones for themselves. But I always ask, is it for self or is it for society or someone else?
I totally, completely agree with you. Absolutely everything you said, for sure. And I think we're only here to cheer each other on with whatever choices we make. Again, if we're making them not as a result of fear of not being, of judgment from other people, for a husband, for this. And on the other hand, like, I have friends who just have let themselves go gray and they don't wear makeup, and they are so happy and free in that. And I like makeup, so it's whatever. I completely agree with you. So okay. So this question: if age was not a factor, is there anything you'd like to learn, try, or experience?
Okay, this is always kind of a running joke. So when I went back to university, obviously, as I said, when my littles, standing there as a mama being like, what on earth am I doing? Back to university, I went. I think the only thing, and really and truthfully, age isn't a factor, because I could go back and do this at any time. For me, it's a place in my life of, where do I see my journey going next? But, if I was back there making those decisions, I'd probably, instead of just going and doing my master's in psychology, I'd probably have gone ahead and pursued a doctorate. And that was my initial path. And at the end of my master's and a couple of years of practice, I was like, geez, what purpose will it serve? But the ego, vanity, whatever you want to call it, I always joked and said, on my gravestone, on my headstone, I always wanted it to say Dr. Annette. And so that's no longer important to me. Again, that growth and learning still keeps coming, right? But at that time it was, because I think at that time I was in this power push to show, not self, society and someone else, that I could do all of these things. Now I don't care what other people, not that I don't care, Liz, because I still get caught up in the, wanting to keep smooth waters and people around you happy, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not as worried about making sure that other people can recognize me for what I can do. That doesn't matter anymore. It's what I know what I can do. And I don't need a doctorate to be able to tell me that. But I do believe that if I was to turn back the hands of time and be given that opportunity, that's probably one thing I would do different. Experiences and learning, man, I'm doing it all the time. I honestly live, in my world, I live the best life and doesn't mean it's perfect. I got crap in my back closet. I got skeletons. I have all that stuff too. But I live it deliberately, and I make the best choices with everything that I have every single morning. And so there's certain things that I can't change, or I can, at risk of changing who I am, and I'm not prepared to do that. And so I still have some of those rocky waters, but it doesn't prevent me from living out what I want to live. So I have so many, I'm so beyond blessed with experiences and learning curves and community and people. And, look at how we came together. That all came from an experience that, that
a room of like-minded people who wanted to, to learn and grow and stretch.
Absolutely.
All different ages and races and genders and everything. And just for the purpose of growing. And
yeah. So I still grab those whenever I possibly can.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's first of all, that you went back to school with 2 little kids and got your master's is a huge triumph, in my opinion. And I'm just thinking, because my friend Madeline Klein, who's in the group, she's 73 and she's in the process of getting her doctorate. And now, so it's never too late if you so choose to. If it comes to you maybe in 20 more years. But I'm always like, you go, and she's doing it to continue learning. I mean, I'm sure she likes that she'll be called doctor too, but
yeah, that's right. I mean, we can tame the ego, but the ego's always still there.
Yeah. We got to just keep it tamed.
That's right.
Okay, so if you could populate the waters for the children coming up, your future grandchildren and theirs, and all the children, future generations, what would you want them to learn and get right? What would you hope for them to learn from a young age?
I think, it's interesting to me because I'm reading right now Rhonda Byrne's The Greatest Secret. And it's a lot on awareness and happiness, and that we think that that's a destination or something that we need to achieve. And it fascinates me that we are born so innocent. We are born with happiness. I mean, sure, you have babies that have cranky times or colicky babies or whatever, but overall, babies are born happy, smiley little creatures. And I don't know if you're noticing this, but damn, those babies seem to smile at a way younger age than they ever used to. But I just think where societal influence, I'm going to say, is the blame for stripping that from our youth. And I don't know where that begins to happen. But if we could figure that out, or we could teach our young to never stop being who they are when they're little, curious, explorers, happy people, kind. We breed insecurities. We breed limiting beliefs. We breed anger and negative emotion. And I say we, meaning all of us.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Liz, I don't know what the answer is, and where, even looking at within our own families, where that begins to happen. Shoot, here we go. I'm freezing.
I didn't see it coming. There you go.
There we go. So, I just think to myself, if there was a way to interrupt that somehow and allow, instead of stifling that growth, allow it to flourish and nourish, it just would change our entire face of our world.
Yeah.
The entire face of our world. So whoever can come up with how we need to do that to get it right.
Well, I think back to what you were saying about yourself, about really asking yourself those questions. What, like, to have that be like literally what they teach you in school, what, like, and then encourage them to go do that. That's like, I think a way to, at least in school, is to start to, and at home, to really just, not, it's like, I heard about, like, when somebody's, when we used to color in school, and like, and every kid would be like, look at my picture. And like one day, all of a sudden, this picture looks better, and they get all the attention, and then that person will never draw again, and it's like, it could be like these little things that happen that and it just, again, it stifles creativity, really. And so what are we missing out on in all these like artists and geniuses, the things that were given the message that they weren't good enough to do that. So I agree with you. And I don't know exactly what the answer is, but except, again,
You know what? It just takes one person making a change and the people that you impact and then that person, the domino effect, right?
Mm-hmm,
And,
mm-hmm.
the problem that happens with all of us is we go, yeah, but we're one person. Or we go, how much change can I really make? Or because we are a society of immediate gratification, and I'm as guilty as the next person, but because we are a society of that, when we don't see the immediate shift, we give up. When we don't get immediate results, we give up. And we do that in so many areas of our lives, in relationships, in business dealings, in anything, right? We go to lose weight, and if we don't lose 10 pounds in the first 2 weeks, we're done. That program isn't any good, or we don't see the body make a huge shift, so yeah, anyway, it's hard, but that's all it does really take, is just one person keep doing it, and then two people will be doing it, and then four people, and 8, 16, and away we go, right?
Totally, right? Like the 4-minute mile, right? Where they
Yeah.
done, and everything. I believe everything's possible for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to move to now is what I call the speed round.
Oh God. Okay.
So it's just gonna answer top of mind, whatever comes to you.
You got it.
Okay. Fun fact about you.
Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know. I'm going to say that I think the best thing is, I retired. I know that that's not your word, but it sure is mine. I wear that one with pride. 45 years old, and my husband was able to retire at 40. We still work, but we do it all on our own schedule. And in my eyes, that's retirement. And so I think and travel. Oh my God, do we travel?
I love that. So yeah, you're not retiring is why I don't like the word.
Yeah, no, we're not. There's nothing stopping about us. We'll keep going.
You're retired from that world that keeps you stuck in one place. And okay. Do you have a TV show that you're currently watching or binging?
So I'm right now. I just quickly watched the 3rd season of Virgin River on Netflix. I really like that, but I got to tell you, I'm a HGTV junkie because I love real estate investing. That's a side gig for me. And so, yeah, I'm an HGTV junkie. That's the only thing that stays consistent in my television watching world.
Nice. I like Virgin River too. Okay. 3 things you can't live without, just whatever comes.
Coffee. Coffee. My housekeeper. And I'm going to say the 3rd thing that I can't live without is building freedom.
Love it. Beautiful. Dream vacation, since you say you travel, a dream vacation destination.
Right. I hope my young daughter doesn't watch this, but because I just, holy smoke, it's expensive, but I want to get around that kind of St. Croix, St. Lucia, in that area where you need to have a lot of money to go down there, but man, it looks like it's worth it once you get there. So that's on my bucket list. We will get there. I promise we will get there.
Okay. I can't wait to see the pictures of you with your the palm trees and
yeah.
My superpower is
building relationships. I can do that with anything from the dust bunny in the corner to old to young to you name it. I can connect with anybody.
I love it. I believe that. It's beautiful. It all comes down to
perseverance.
Nice. Success is
whatever you want it to be.
Absolutely. I believe in
the one that I'm working on the most, the universe answering exactly what you want and need.
Nice. Relationships are
goddamn hard work.
So honest and so true. Sisterhood is
amazing is the word that's lit up across my eyes with sparkles all around it. Yeah, I wouldn't be anywhere without my tribes of sisterhoods.
Yeah, me too. An exceptional day contains
oh boy. For me, it's an exceptional day is being in that great big bus of ours and going. I'm a waterfall chaser, if there is such a thing. I am fascinated by waterfalls. And so an exceptional day is uncovering the next greatest waterfall. Yeah.
I love that. Do you go and put your head in it?
Not typically, maybe down in the pools in the bottom, sometimes we'll step into those. The most exhilarating, I don't know if you were watching on my Facebook from last summer, but the most exhilarating was we actually hiked in behind. You're not supposed to, but we did it anyway. And I can't even put into words any way that your viewers would understand the just the feeling of walking in behind. I mean, it is a bit dangerous because you could get sucked in by the water, but at that point, that's not even what you're thinking about. But getting to the other side and looking back and being like, wow, I just hiked in behind that waterfall. That is crazy. It just was, it brought tears. I had so much emotion going through me because there was just such a sense of accomplishment and just like getting to the other side. I love analogy, and that to me is like an analogy of life, just getting to the other side.
I love that. I want to go look for it now in your group for sure.
Yeah,
I think that's
yeah. You look back to last.
I got some adrenaline rush from that. Just hearing it, like when you're up for the forces of nature like that, it's very, very accomplished. Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it was pretty awesome.
Awesome. Okay, just a couple more things. If you have a favorite quote or words to live by.
Yeah, so my favorite quote, am I able to read it to you?
Yeah.
Because I can't remember it. So yeah. I'm going to just pull it from my board.
Okay.
This is the quote, actually, Liz, that got me through going through a divorce. So it's called Don't Quit. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. It's when things go wrong that you mustn't quit. Oh, see, that makes me emotional. That has been.
I love.
I've carried this little piece of paper with me forever and ever.
I want you to send me a picture of that.
I will.
Yeah, I'll post it too. That's really good. Beautiful, and that you carried it around. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, two quick, real fast answers to answer what it means to you, the word ageless, and then what it means to you when you hear ageless goddess, because it's been very interesting to hear different people's perspective, and people, for the way that I created it is really it was about the inside, not how you look. So I just always want to ask people how when they heard ageless goddess and ageless.
Okay. So ageless to me is just, I can do anything I want whenever I want. It doesn't matter. Age really is a number, and that's all it is. So for me, it's just when I hear ageless, it's like an infinity. Ageless goddess. What I think of when I hear that is, again, that being able to go out, accomplish, be what you want to be, do what you want to do, but do it with, oh man, like glamour is coming to my mind, but that's like confidence and just being able to just stand within our power and just carry that. And I just picture like this golden iridescent woman with this long headdress and beautiful kind of gown and like just shining this light out for the whole, just capturing the whole world. That's what I think of. What's on the inside is unique as you and I both are. So I look at it as just, it's spewing out confidence and energy and everything that you need to be able to keep doing exactly what you want to do and what you want to be.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And that golden light woman is within each of us too.
Absolutely.
We can walk into a room and light the whole real world on fire, as I know that you do with your.
We both do, Liz. We both do.
It's a choice, right? It's a choice to do
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. You get to decide how you wake up every morning.
Yes, and how you show up and how, right, exactly. So, Annette, I wanted to see if there's a way that people can get in touch with you, could share just how to connect with you. They want to learn more, if they want to come on over to check out your group.
Yeah, for sure. So you can search me up on any kind of social media. I do have a website. Of course, I am a private practice clinician and work with a lot of people one-on-one on coaching. AnnetteAngelbert.com is my webpage. And Anne with an E, thanks to my parents. I said they didn't have to get too creative with that name. I do have a Facebook page. It is a private group, ladies, but please hop on over. It's Deliberately Designed Life. You just have to send in a member request and we'll pop you into the group. Anybody and everybody is welcome. And it's a very supportive community of, I think we're cresting almost 500 members now. And I try to pop on there every week. I'm kind of taking a little bit of a hiatus this summer and just enjoying a little bit more life and what life has to offer. But that's all part of living a deliberately designed life and part of showing people that that's okay to do this stuff. So, so you can pop over to Deliberately Designed Life. You can send me a private message. You can reach out to me on Facebook, all kinds of Instagram, Deliberately Designed Life on Instagram, all those little social media channels.
Awesome. And thank you so much. That was like so much wisdom packed into, I don't know, a short time, but I really appreciate you and what you do, what you stand for and who you are. So from my heart to yours, I thank you so much for this conversation and appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for building a community where women can kind of see that this is what you and I live, Liz. This can be normal.
Yeah. Women hearing on one another is just, that's where it's at. That's where we're going to continue to shift this paradigm and let the world see us and play big in our little precious life. Right.
Yeah. Always remember, we're stronger together.
Absolutely. My friend. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
All right, see you next week.
Okay. Take care.
Bye.